Welcome to episode 29 of Why Not Read Alpha Flight with Chris and Tom, a podcast where we take your favorite series seriously. I'm Chris Baker.
And I'm Tom Flynn. We hope you're having a great start to summer because today we go to the frozen wastelands of the Great White North.
It's not that bad.
And get to the totally not at all fucked up conclusion of Snowbird's magical mystery pregnancy.
For those of you just joining us, here's the story so far. Founding Alpha, Dr. Michael fucking Two Youngman, aka Shaman, has lost faith in himself after some pretty notable failures, but we here on Why Not contend Michael is too hard on himself.
Mostly.
He went on a spirit trial to prove to himself and his ghost grandfather that he had what it takes to be worthy of his title and role, only to find that his daughter, Elizabeth, would administer the final trial.
That old chestnut.
Elizabeth, aka Talisman, embraced her destiny when she pulled out the tiara of the Talisman from Shaman's magic medicine bag and put it on her head, binding it to her forever and sacrificing her humanity to command the spirits that make up the world? Canada? Discussion for another time. After completing his trial, Shaman was given a new costume and power set that boils down to asking the spirits for help, while Elizabeth is their unquestioned master. Michael then rushed to Alpha Flight's aid with a very pregnant and very magical Snowbird. When she was born a mere 7-ish years ago, it was Shaman that goddess Nelvana chose to deliver her magic demi-goddess baby, and he did so admirably, binding Snowbird to the land to keep her from being trapped in wherever the gods are trapped. You know what? Conversation for another time.
It's quite the story so far.
There's a lot going on in Alpha Flight, Tom.
Our roster is rounded out by the legless Roger Box and his box with an X armor, Speedster twins Northstar and Aurora, hirsute acrobatic dwarf and a unitard Eugene Judd, aka Puck, and Madison Jeffries, aka Mr. Jeffries, who seems to sit this arc out. When did we see him last?
And the team is being led by widow of Alpha Flight founder James McDonald Hudson, the totally human Heather Hudson, who now has a replica of James's electromagnetically powered super suit.
And on the topic of JMH, we got some great ideas on a new name for the deceased roster from our pal Rick over at Jeff and Rick Present Unpacking the Power of Power Pack. So many good ones, in fact, that we're just going to roll out one each episode for a while. This week, we present you with the Moldy Maple Leafs list.
Oh, oof.
Currently on the roster is the aforementioned James McDonald Hudson, aka Guardian, as well as my Bet Orange, everyone's favorite overachieving underachiever. Is that right?
I think he's an underachieving overachiever.
I think he's just a fuck up. Dr. Walter Langowski. I know, no, I'm not going to do the air horn this time. It's feeling played out. I want it to feel more special.
Yeah, if you're expecting an air horn, it's not fun.
It's just not, right? Like, it needs to be something better, something more like this.
Listeners, surely you can do better than moldy maple leaves. Please hit us up at whynotehpod@gmail.com. Well, Tom, it's 48 pages to the end of this arc. We've got a full script, half a six-pack each, and we're in the basement, so light and dark don't apply. And we're wearing headphones.
Hit it. Alpha Flight number 37, titled Death Birth. Cover date August 1986. Writer is Bill Mantlo. Penciler is David Ross. Letterer is Jim Novak.
You bum!
Colorist is Bob Sharon. Editor is Carl Potts. Editor-in-chief is Jim Shooter.
Before anything else, the title. This has got to be a reference to the title of Uncanny X-Men number 186, which in turn influenced X-Men 97 Season 1, Episode 6, Life Death. That issue was published mid-1984, so it's still in living memory among the Marvel zombies buying Alpha Flight.
Okay, I know there are Marvel Zombies comics. That's not what you're talking about, is it?
No, friend, but we don't have time to go down that route right now. I look forward to doing it sometime with you. You're going to like it.
You say that. On the cover, a villain we have never seen before. He's wearing very pirate-coated boots, a bow tie, and an elaborate green sash around his waist. He holds Shaman and Talisman in the air, one in each hand, both clearly unconscious at best. Puck lies defeated at his feet in a full-body costume we haven't seen before, while Vindicator and Box fly in to save the team. The corner box features a full body shot of Aurora because, well, of course you would, and heads of Heather, Northstar, Puck, Box, and Snowbird.
I forgot I wrote that. We will come back to the splash page opening in a couple of minutes. For now, The Alpha Jet speeds along on its way to help birth Snowbird's child. Northstar speeds ahead of the Omni-Jet, which is propelled by the spirits of wind and magnetism, allowing Shaman to propel the jet as fast as Northstar, which is very fast.
While Box, Puck, and Heather are in the cockpit, Aurora enters wearing a new costume. She is once again covered head to toe, this time in a purple bodysuit with white gloves, boots, and collar, with some vertical white features in the torso that are essentially breast highlights.
It's really breast-tastic.
She says, you admire my winter costume, Roger Box? I would prefer to wear something more revealing where I still as immune to the cold as my brother. And she leans over and kisses him on the cheek.
I'm sorry. I just love your Aurora. This is going to sound funny, but this is an example of one of the more subtle treatments of Aurora that we've seen.
What in the actual fuck was subtle about that?
In Burns' run, the Aurora persona spoke perfect English and was quite sexually free, while the Jean-Marie persona spoke broken and accented English. Ever since Walt did his whatever he did to her, we've been seeing an uptick in Aurora acting like Aurora, but speaking with this heavier French accent. I call this the Brozer era, because it's spelled the phonetic spelling of her accent gets even sillier as we move forward. The implication is that this is like a blend of the two personas, an entirely new third one. It was first hinted at in the X-Men Alpha Flight miniseries when she got quote-unquote cured. Her personalities were blended together in a harmonious and helpful and not painful way, as opposed to jamming people who hate each other together and making them live in the same body like this. So, yeah, maybe she learned what it felt like, and both personalities are trying to get there on their own. There's just not a lot of discussion of this yet.
Or, this is just how Mantlo wants to write Aurora. Could be that too.
True. Oh, she's a French girl. She must talk like this.
And be tart. Heather says, no longer in mourning for Langowski, Aurora? Would she have said that with more, like of a tone? Like, no longer in mourning for Langowski, Aurora? I don't know. Maybe something like that.
No, I think your first one was right, but I think your first one actually contained that tone already.
Oh, good. Aurora replies, I will never forget my beloved Waltair, Heather. Sorry. Actually, I got this one better. Aurora replies, I will never forget my beloved Waltair, Heather, but memories cannot keep one warm at night. And dear Roger, I am as attracted to brains as I was brawn.
Okay, I take it back. Nothing subtle here.
It's a weird thing for her to say because she really wasn't into Walt's brains at all.
It's debatable whether she was into Walt at all, if you know what I mean, and I think you do.
Which explains with the box with the X armor. Oh dear.
Oh no, but she rejected Walt when he was in the armor because the armor is not anatomically correct. Data is a better robot than the box armor for this.
Okay, I don't want any more of this particular line of discussion. I'm good.
He's programmed in multiple techniques.
I'm aware of what Data can do and not do, all right?
Oh, you are you?
Oh, am I?
As the Omni-Jet approaches the place of power, all the scientific instruments and the mystic spirits helping the team go all wonky for hovering right where they need to be is Talisman.
She looks at them and says, can't park there, mate. Nah, she tells the team she has come to watch them fail in their attempt to deliver Snowbird's child, which the Doug Thompson responds to with his Western Canadian white male boomer cop sensitivity. Having said that, and that is an accurate way of describing Doug's response, in fairness to Doug, this floating woman just said, I'm here to watch you guys fail to deliver that guy's baby. Like, look, a lot of what Doug's going through is rough. Like, he's going through a lot really quickly. I get it. It's just, how he others and is kind of an asshole that makes it not cool how he's reacting to it.
Reacting poorly is not why we're upset at Doug. Reacting like a dick is why we're upset with the Doug. Speaking of, I need a minute with the Doug, so everyone else, skip the next 30 seconds or so. This isn't for you. Okay, Doug, look, we are dads here, and you seem to be having trouble coming to grips with this over the course of 12 hours or so. So we're here to give you some advice from the pros, the Doug, and just do whatever the fuck the doctors say you should do. Do you get me? You don't know a damn thing, and all your concern is better expressed with compliance than defiance. That applies during birth and throughout the kid's life, but specifically during birth. If the doctor tells you to sit down, it's because they can tell you're about to faint, and they don't want to deal with your dumb ass underfoot.
And you might get pooped on while you're down there. So really don't faint.
And when you do have kids, yelling doesn't work. Reward the behavior you want to see and ignore what you don't want to see. Always remember, they're just kids and they need love the most when they deserve it the least. Okay, we're back, listeners.
And that was really heartfelt and really important. And I hope you didn't skip it, because I also want to say, Chris, as the other person on this podcast, I swear to God, if you ever tell the listeners to skip ahead or skip a portion again, I will come to your house and I will cut you. All right.
You know how Jon Stewart says, meet me at camera 2? Like, that's what I'm trying to do is an audio version of that, because we don't have a camera 2. Maybe I just say, hey, Doug, meet me at camera 2 and just run with it.
So much better than telling people to skip around the podcast. So much better.
Okay, no problem. Tell you what, you want me to record it clean and you can just cut that back in instead of that part?
No, I think this whole bit is great.
Oh yeah, you think it's great.
Don't I?
Where were we? The team lands and the non-birthing people set up a defensive perimeter around the people doing the birthing, conveniently directly above the villain from the cover, who is buried under the ice. How did he get there?
The splash page opening showed 2 wooden sailing ships, sails furled, trapped in a frozen sea. We are treated to 5 pages of narration.
5!
Of narration boxes from the journal of Captain F.R. Crozier, dated April 25th, 1848, which details how 3 years ago he signed on to an expedition to discover the Northwest Passage as doctor and science officer, only to have the ship suddenly frozen in place 6 months into the journey. After 2 years of waiting for a spring thaw, the leader of the expedition, Captain Franklin, led a party to search for help, and after 6 months of no rescue, Captain Crozier decided to lead the remaining survivors on a last-ditch effort to get to civilization.
As they march through the frozen wasteland, men stumble and fail to get up. They go to sleep and do not wake up, and they all go unburied in the harsh ice. As the futility of their march becomes apparent, Crozier pulls out an elixir he concocted to slow his body so it would be preserved by the cold, and he would thaw whenever spring finally came. To his horror, his shipmates showed him the honor of a proper burial in the frozen ground, where Crozier spends the next 140 years conscious and alive in his frozen tomb.
And if any of that sounds familiar to you, it's because other than the elixir preserving him, this is all based in reality. The Franklin expedition was real, as was Francis Crozier.
Holy shit, what?
Beachy Island, where the team has come to assist in Snowbird's birth, was found to hold 3 graves of sailors on that expedition. Crozier was rumored to have been seen near Bear Lake, which is in almost impossible distance to the south, where our old friend Farley Moat came across a cairn that didn't seem, to him at least, to be of standard Inuit construction, noting a hardwood box inside with dovetail joints. As with most things with Moat, it's really hard to nail down the accuracy of that. Folks are probably most familiar with this tale from the AMC series The Terror, in which Crozier is the protagonist, played by Jared Harris. The series is based on the novel by Dan Simmons, which mixes the history of that doomed expedition with, a lot of horror, and pretty good horror at that. Dan Simmons, man, what a fall that guy had.
I'm going to do this in reverse order, Tom. Dan Simmons. What?
So Dan Simmons is a novelist. The Terror is a horror novel, but most of his stuff is sci-fi. He did the Hyperion series,
that's where it's... Okay.
Yeah. But one of his more recent or last books I'm aware of, basically something about Obama getting elected broke his brain, and he wrote a dystopian sci-fi about like Sharia law taking over he broke bad. It went really, really bad.
He got Dennis Millard.
It's really unfortunate because Hyperion, Fall of Hyperion, and Damien Rise, it's like a key series for me. It's really smart sci-fi. It's really interesting, like literary analysis. Like the titles of those novels are all based on epic poems by John Keats. John Keats is the romantic poet, is a character in this series taking place in the far future. Like it's cool. It's good stuff. And for him to become what he became is just a real bummer.
Okay, then working further back, holy crap, Crozier was real? And you learn something new every day, Tom, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the names of the ships, the 2 ships, were the Terror and the Erebus, I feel like you were setting yourselves up for some disaster there. You don't go looking for the Northwest Passage, which was eventually established, though it wasn't very convenient. It's way more convenient now with climate change.
Whee!
Yeah, but you don't really go into like a frozen area with a ship called the Terror, I don't think, but that's just me. Some of the things that actually got worked into Simmons' novel and then by extension the series was that there was an issue with both the plumbing on the ship, but also the tinned food they were sent with, where there was lead poisoning involved. So all the sailors were actually starting to lose their minds from the lead poisoning, which is, not helpful when you're stuck in a frozen wasteland and the only thing you can eat is the stuff that's killing you and making you lose your mind.
Or Ensign Jones. You can eat Ensign Jones.
Oh, yeah, you can totally eat Ensign Jones. And
he didn't wake up this morning.
Yeah, there's that. This is the 616. As soon as they do that, they got nothing but Wendigos everywhere.
Oh, this story would have been so much better if it was about Wendigos frozen under the ice and they attacked Snowbird.
In Simmons' novel, there's actually, and I'm blanking on the name of it. Someone who listens to this will know it off the top of their head. But
say the wrong one. That'll make sure that somebody says the right one.
There's an Inuit spirit that takes the form of like essentially like a what do they call it? A short-faced bear, but like basically an ice-aged bear that's bigger than a polar bear, and it's hunting and killing the crew. And it's supposed to be like a manifestation of them not being supposed to be in this land, et cetera, et cetera. So that's where the horror component really starts to kick in. It's not just the circumstances they find them in; they're actually being hunted by a being that seems more supernatural than real.
Are you telling me that Dan Simmons not only ripped off an Alpha Flight villain, but also ripped off the Demon Bear from the New Mutants?
I mean,
because all this is happening like right now. Like the two elements of what you just said are literally being published by Marvel Comics in 1986.
I have to say that I think that you're reading this wrong. I don't think that what we've established here is that Dan Simmons ripped these various comics off. I think we've established that Dan Simmons read Alpha Flight.
Well, I look forward to hearing from you, Dan. Come. Talk to us. We'd love to hear from you.
Or, an email's great. I don't really know that we need to talk too much, especially after some of the shit I just said.
Email us, Dan. We'll work up to a call. As Talisman summons wind spirits to keep Snowbird off the ground, Shaman thinks, Elizabeth easily commands the obedience of mighty elemental spirits, whose aid I can only implore. But she does so callously, cruelly, punishing them if they are slow to serve her. Possessed of great power, she is contemptuous of all lesser beings. The power is corrupting her.
There's more squabbling between the two of them about her mother's death. Then Narya's god family appears to just Narya and the Doug to tell her to ditch the Zero and get with the heroes in whatever godland they are in. And the Doug says, and now when she's in torment, you've come to taunt her? No wonder Narya chose to become human.
So he's got that going for him, which is nice.
Since Snowbird is part god, this isn't your basic bear down and breathe through at birth. It gets weird. The child's life force starts shooting out of Snowbird's belly, and the frozen bad guy in the ice thinks, all I can feel is hate and jealousy. Immortality has been so cold. I will steal their life and have revenge for all the years they had life while I was trapped. I sense life coming into existence above me. A spirit seeking solidity, needing to be bound to the land to take form. Why did they bring the mother here, to this place which my hate corrupted long, long ago? What care I why they are here? Their mistake is my salvation. Today, I shall be reborn.
First up, props, bruv. Big reveal time. The team is here because the spirits told Shaman this is where they should go. And who can tell the spirits what to do? Talisman says,
I set you up, old man. The spirits led you to this spot only because I commanded it. It is a place of power, true, but it is also a place of death.
And big black insecty things spring up from the ground and start feeding on the infant's life force. When Aurora punches one, her arm emerges covered in maggots. Maggots, Tom.
It's a rough panel, man. It's rough.
Northstar's feet are swallowed by the decaying ground around, holding him in place. Box is quickly overcome with rust, while Vindicator is covered in a never-ending swarm of flies that can't get through her suit's shields, but she can't see to help anyone either. Puck rushes out of the jet only to fall through a sudden hole in the ice.
Shaman identifies the threat to the child as coming from below the ice, not from Talisman herself, and calls for help from spirits, only to have Talisman tell them no. because I want to see you fail in the eyes of your fellow Alphans, because I want to see you humbled by that failure, and because I want you to see how easily I shall step in and pick up the pieces by saving the child from the horror you have so ineptly released.
Okay, point of order, Elizabeth. I don't think he released it. I think you did. Moving on. And our villain emerges from the ice with the child's soul animating his long frozen body. He names himself Pestilence and promises his evil soul will overcome the child's innocence soon enough. So, this is Snowbird's surprise entirely unnatural child, a hate-filled 140-year-old weirdo with the power to control pestilence and rot.
How does he have these powers?
It's the god. It's the god child.
Like, how does he have power enough to like merge with like the godchild in the first place, or to like express any of this? Like, he's just a dude with an elixir that slowed down his body, frozen in some ice.
And then in the ensuing 140 years, he says his hate corrupted this land around him. Presumably, there is some form of whatever these spirits are that's working here, that with that persistence in the same place, with the same focus and the same hate, it seems to be that he has become a form of a spirit, even though his body is technically alive. Remember, it is frozen, so he's not alive, you know?
That's fine.
So it's a little weird, but the reason he has these powers is because, for whatever reason, he connected up and grabbed onto the child's power and is using that power to do all this stuff. How did he know to do this stuff? Who fucking knows? Right. It's a comic book, Tom.
Honestly, that's what I thought. I just think it's probably worth us spelling out a little bit what is going on in that regard and what makes no sense. And that's fine. That's fine. With the rest of Alpha Flight taken out, Pestilence ages Shaman up to like 90 or something. Like, he just looks old. He's weak and frail, which is when Talisman steps in to say that her goals have been met, so she's dismissing the spirit from Pestilence and saving the child. Instead, he grabs her by the throat and rips off her magical tiara and throws it to the ground in front of the decrepit shaman. Alpha Flight is completely defeated by some dude in a sash and pirate boots.
Way to go, Elizabeth. Really showed them, didn't you?
Elizabeth's mistake was not knowing that Pestilence was still alive under the ice. She thought he was a spirit of death and thus controlled by her.
So she chose to use a death spirit in this plan. Not only chose it, but didn't do any verification other than, I feel something evil and death-like here. Surely I can control it. No need to test that first.
Way to go, Elizabeth.
Even worse, her ersatz death spirit turned out to be a living human imbued with the powers of a godling child.
Those powers have been diluted, cut in half by the Doug's meager human contribution.
Cut in half if the kid's lucky. Once again, Elizabeth is the annoying, rash teenager with daddy issues, and now she has the power to make it everyone on Earth's problem.
I just want to point out that you were pretty quick to come to my side, or at least acknowledge my point vis-a-vis the Talisman outfit, and that you really had a knee-jerk reaction to hating it so much. That I thought was a little... I think you hated the outfit because of what her character is like later, like at this point in the series. I think you were actually working a little bit backwards there, which is, I'm not criticizing you for it, but I think that might be part of why you had such distaste for her outfit at the outset.
Hey, I'm making the Kevin James pose here right now, you know? You got me. I'm not an Elizabeth fan. I'm not sure how you read this, and you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She just tried to kill a god kid.
No, I mean, no,
there's things I'll forgive, but this is...
Well, but this is... I mean, they do a lot of work. They've already done some work setting up that by her being the Talisman, she loses her humanity. And that's fine and all, but she still has agency.
Actually, you raise a very good point with the agency word. You're right, that when they talk about her losing her humanity, they never say that she loses her agency. And I think of losing your humanity to some form of duty or whatever, and that you have to do and make the hard calls. As Shaman says in later issues, when he has the Talisman, you know, if I can't make this decision, who can? Somebody's got to do it. I'm the one with the power. I have to do it. I have to.
Right. And for a whole host of reasons that make some sense. She's still angry with her father for all sorts of things. She's angry that she got put in this position without really any consent on her part. All legitimate. But for it to be expressed this way, I mean, that's more reflective of Elizabeth, maybe still being a kid or something, but it doesn't speak well of her.
It's not a good look.
Nope.
So the issue ends with a couple pages of Marrina stuff, but we'll deal with that next episode.
Okay, yeah, that's starting to sound like in Snatch, where every time Turkish asks how long on those sausages, the cook says 5 minutes Turkish, and the sausages never come.
I resent being cast as the cook in this. If anything, I would think that everybody wants to be Turkish, but I would accept Tommy in this role. But I really do mean it this time, Tom. Next episode is all Marrina and Avengers, folks.
Great. So adjust your expectations accordingly, folks.
That brings us to Alpha Flight number 38, cover date September 1986, titled Pestilence. Well, that's clever, Tom. With the same creative team as last issue. I don't think we've gotten to say that for like a dozen issues now. Consistency is great.
On the cover, the great beast Kalamok dominates the scene, holding a Vindicator in his giant hand and fighting... By God, King, is that Orange Sasquatch? I see throwing hands with a great beast?
There's other stuff, but who cares? Tom, Sass is back! So we open up with 5 pages of Marrina stuff.
5 minutes, Turkish.
And the real open picks up where we left off with a lot of recapping. And I don't just mean in the story. This is the splash page with the title and the credits and stuff. Not many issues get 2 splash page openings, but I guess Namor can't appear anywhere without making a splash.
Boo this man! Boo! Heather focuses her electromagnetic force beam through the swarm of mosquitoes to observe her team scattered and defeated. As Shaman reaches for the tiara of the Talisman, Aurora is still completely encased in maggots. And yeah, I kind of forgot about that part. And this just has got to be the most triggering thing possible for her.
Even if they're not biting her, just the wiggling would drive a person mad. And she's mad already. Like doubly mad, double XL mad, double the pleasure, double the mad. Good thing she's wearing her long underwear on this mission, huh?
I need an adult. Heather blasts her way through the swarm, and as Pestilence turns to her, he's wearing the face of her dead husband, James McDonald Jimmy Ladd Hudson.
All right. Once again, we have Weekend at Bernied James McDonald Hudson into reality. Listeners, buckle up. JMH has appeared in 11 issues since he died. His face has been on the page of 11 issues since he died. That is almost as many issues as he appeared of Alpha Flight before he died. The guy just keeps getting pulled out as a corpse. So, Tom, we need something that's going to encapsulate this puppeting of a dead man's corpse for financial gain. I don't know that there was a standout hit from the Weekend at Bernie's soundtrack that we can use that people would readily identify. Have you got any ideas on a musical cue we can use for when JMH's corpse is popped up?
Say less, fam.
Can you burn it lane? I can burn it lane. I can burn it lane. I can burn it lane. Watch me burn it lane.
That's the dumbest song I've ever heard. It's fantastic. I love it. And listeners, to be fair, as I was counting up those appearances, because yes, I did stop and devote half an hour to figuring this out because it was bothering me. One of those appearances is as a charred animated corpse in a dream, but it counts for me. So, where were we? Heather is unfazed and punches the superpowered shit out of Pestilence. Go, Heather!
I'd suggest she's not so much unfazed as happy to punch the husband she, quote unquote, thought she knew. On page, she thinks that these feelings would be a good thing to talk to her shrink about, if she had one. I'm guessing she's not a fan of the top men at Department H. As she goes in for another strike, suddenly Puck bursts up through the ice, pulling Pestilence down into the icy waters long enough for them to rally the team. Now, you might be wondering how Puck survived in those frozen waters for so long. Well,
I bless the time that old Hindu Dr. Srivanda taught me yoga. Without the ability to slow my breathing and alter my body's temperature, the cold and loss of air would have killed me.
I really do enjoy your Puck voice. Pestilence emerges and taunts the team with visions of Snowbird's baby, who, in true John Byrne fashion, is depicted as being close to 1 year old at best, and like a 25-year-old fatter Foggy Nelson at worst, and, most distressingly, entirely too proportionate.
Ugh, such a tiny head. This enrages Snowbird. Justifiably. She shifts into her white Sasquatch form. Boo, cover bait and switch. To attack the bad guy, only to find out that since the great beasts rule over death and decay, that means they are also subject to the command of Pestilence through the demigod powers of unnamed baby boy Thompson. And we only know it's a boy because the characters told us So, look, they didn't show us. They didn't, Nirvana's Nevermind the kid and show us that he was a boy, but apparently it's Baby Boy Thompson.
Big old fight between Alpha Flight and the Great Beasts.
Hot damn, this feels like Alpha Flight again.
Which is put to a stop by Shaman putting on the tiara of the Talisman and sacrificing his humanity to control the spirits and end the threat of pestilence. He says, "The great beasts are of the spirit world, and thus them I may command." And he banishes them all except for Tanorak. Apparently Snowbird, by shifting into Sasquatch, didn't just assume the form of a Sasquatch, she brought Tanorak here. Is this Sasquatch real? Is it just Tanorak? It's getting a little muddy here.
All right. In Volume 2 of Alpha Flight, Department H, as I've mentioned many times, secretly replaces Walt with a real goddamn Sasquatch. So the Sasquatches are real, but they don't look like this. It was definitely different looking and clearly not Walt, and only the brain-fogged, constantly drugged team of newbies could be convinced it was secret agent linebacker superhero Dr. Walter Lankowski, having pulled a Dr. Henry McCoy on himself.
If any scientist is going to cavalierly experiment on himself and make his condition worse, it is definitely Walt.
Fair point. Well played. Snowbird tries her damnedest to kill Pestilence, even if it means killing the baby, because Tanorak's rage will not be satisfied, only for Pestilence to nope the fuck out of the fight with a great beast by using his god powers to move the dirt under him and escape, leaving a heartbroken and confused and very, very cold Alpha Flight on the surface.
Elizabeth rushes to Shaman saying, "Oh, Daddy, I love you!" And Shaman replies, "I am happy for it, Elizabeth."
I just wish those two could get onto the same page.
I do appreciate them playing up the loss of humanity with the ellipsis in there between the I and am happy. Like
it was very efficiently told. Good job, Bill.
Hours later, as Alpha Flight's Omnijet approaches Mansion Alpha, our view cuts to a figure emerging from the sea next to Tamarind Island. A figure with blue skin and golden armor, which is also a life support suit, and a face shield holding water in against his skin. He thinks, "Here is where I am told I shall find Alpha Flight, teammates of Marrina, whose aid I shall ask when Submariner invades Atlantis." So, Chris, I'm guessing this ties into all the Marrina stuff we haven't been talking about. So, next episode, we'll dig into that. We'll get caught up with Marrina, all her going-ons, some Namor, good stuff, right? So next episode, right? Right? Next episode?
Yes, Tom, we will get to it next episode, unless I find something more interesting to talk about. We do have an annual. We have a Marvel Spotlight appearance. We've got all sorts of fun stuff lined up here. I can keep not talking about Marrina for probably about 3 more release episodes.
This is what I come to work with, folks. This is what I do.
Why Not Read Alpha Flight is brought to you by the Excelsior Embroidery Company, part of the Roxxon family of companies. Roxxon wishes all the listeners of Why Not a happy Pride Month with Excelsior's X-Men icon with a trans flag background on the color-appropriate trucker hat. Perfect for keeping the hot sun off your dome at the scaled-down Pride Fest in your city that Roxxon refused to sponsor this year. Check out this design and more at excelsiorembroidery.etsy.com. Listeners of Why Not can receive 20% off any 2 items by using the code WHYNOT20.
Why Not Read Alpha Flight with Chris and Tom is recorded in Chicago, Illinois, and deep beneath stately Baker Manor in a fashionable neighborhood outside St. Louis. It is written by Chris Baker, edited by Tom Flynn, with cat noises courtesy of Teeny the Chonky Calico. Our theme song is "Oh Canada" by Five Iron Frenzy because it's the most perfect song possible for our podcast. New episodes are released every other Monday at www.thewhynotpod.com and wherever you get your podcasts. Please take a moment to rate our show on your preferred podcast platform and a moment to mention the show to someone you think would like it, IRL or online, wherever you talk to fellow Alpha fans. And maybe follow us on Blue Sky or Instagram. Those things really help our show grow and we appreciate it. Until next time.
The It's My Birthday song from Thor Ragnarok. When he pushes the orgy button.
No shit. That was actually one of the things going through my head.
It's my birthday! I have so many videos of my kids awkwardly standing there while I'm videoing them and playing that song because it's their birthday. And I say, hey, time to do your birthday dance to the birthday song. It's saved in our family videos on my home server.
Yeah.
That clip of just that music. The remix is horrible.